So
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 92 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt Knittel, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian is off somewhere in fantastic lighting. Christian, say hello so people can see you.
this is the angelic version. This is me.
Yeah, that was immediately what I thought as well. I was going to say the same thing. It's really weird that we oftentimes say the exact same words. Matt, how are you doing? Or not how are you doing? Nope. Sorry. I don't want to know yet. Yeah, I don't want to know yet because that's preemptive. We want to address that on the podcast.
Yeah. When have I not said great?
I don't know. Maybe when you've been drunk one time and felt a little more talkative, but I could be wrong.
I've never been drunk in my life.
Yeah.
Never.
All right. Christian has to be at dinner. If you are joining us live on YouTube, hello, welcome. Please interact with us as we go along here. I have the chat feature up in the background and would love to hear from you. And I think we are ready to get this thing going because Christian has places to be. Also, his video just keeps being weird, so I can't tell if he's just being weird or if his video freezes with him making funny faces. So we're just going to have to deal with that. All right. That is part of the game. All right. You ready, guys?
I was born ready.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 92 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I am joined by my two brothers, Christian and Matt Knittel, to discuss to discuss stories from around the soccer world. I'm stuttering over. You know what? Fuck it. We're doing that again. We have to do that again. I can't believe how much I started to say two before I said our last name. All right, we're fucking doing that again. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bros Talking Soccer podcast, episode 92. My name is Dave Knittel, and I am joined by my two brothers, Christian and Matt Knittel, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello. How are you doing?
Hello, Dave. I am great. Here I am in Maryland again. Going to some crab cakes soon, so I'm excited. But I can't wait to get out of this place.
Okay. And so he's potting from his hotel room, and so the audio is not as good as it usually is, but it's still okay, and we're happy.
And
yes. So we're happy he's able to join us here. Matt, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Dave. I have kind of a slow week here at school. I don't have any assignments due this week, no tests, so I'm kind of just hanging out.
You got a big thing coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I know. Penn State, Ohio State. What's it called? Game Day is coming here. ESPN Game Day.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Awesome.
I'm definitely not going, so don't wake me up at 4 a.m. when you try and go. You have to be at like 4 a.m. to get in.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Yeah, no.
You only live once.
Through the night. Yeah,
there you go.
Nice. You just don't, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's that. Guys, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking about my trip. It was just glorious and amazing. And I spent the last week in England and the UK. So driving around England and Wales, 1,100 miles and just wandering all over the place, getting a bunch of soccer scarves.
How was the driving?
Driving was awesome, but a little bit weird. Obviously, they drive on the other side of the road, and my depth perception, specifically on the passenger side, was a little off in some certain instances. I scared the hell out of Kristen in a couple times, but I didn't hit anything or anyone, and that's always a victory.
In a couple times.
Yeah, just a couple of times. The first day I was driving, they have really little curbs, and I was driving. Kristen looked at me and said, "I think you're on the curb right now." I said, "What?" And then I made a turn and dropped off the curb. And so, I was just driving on the curb for a little bit. And
that's fun.
Yeah, so that's fun.
You got to keep life interesting. Sometimes.
Exactly. Keep
everybody
almost
like that depression when she was in her push to start.
Yes. All right. So that broke up a little bit, but just real quick story there. I never knew that you could just take the keys out of a running car. So just to mess with my wife one time when we were at a traffic light, I just took her keys out because I didn't think I could. She was in drive, and it all ended up working out. But she freaked out for a second. Christian happened to be with us, and you got to keep things interesting. So that's that. Christian, do you have a trivia question?
Bad view.
Yes. Do you have a trivia question for us this week?
Yeah, I do. Do you guys know who has the most completed dribbles in Europe right now?
All right. Who has the most completed dribbles through, I guess, whatever, 6 or 7 matches? Is that in total or per match?
Total.
Total. Okay. Because like the Bundesliga's only played 4 matches, whereas
You can guess how many it is as well if you would like.
Okay, so it's through this weekend, right? Because there were a couple matches that happened today.
I guess it's as of yesterday.
Okay, awesome. All right,
Monday, September 4th.
Okay, thank you for being exceptionally clear there, Matt. Over to you for your section here.
Okay, hi guys, welcome to Matt's time here on this podcast. My topic here, shout out to Glenn Lawrence, listener question, who told us to talk about the Mourinho Pogba scenario, which is always, evolving. Something's happening. Seems like every week. So a couple days ago, I didn't read. I'm just going off the headlines here. I didn't read too deep into the story. I don't know the context of it. But Mourinho stated that Pogba would never captain Manchester United again. We'll go to Dave first. Do you think that it's just basically inevitable at this point that Pogba's time? I don't know. Yeah, I always go to Christian, so I was like, I'm gonna go to Dave this time. Yeah.
That's because Dave always is the first one talking.
Oh, okay. Should I go to?
Go to Dave. Go to Dave.
No. Okay, Christian, what are you doing? Christian, when it's your section, you can decide who goes when. But let Matt do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. So Dave,
just because you're going first, you gotta defend him.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead. Yes, it's inevitable. So you didn't get through your question because Christian's jumping in there, but I assume you asked, is it inevitable that either Pogba or Jose leaves United? Is that your question, Matt?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Everything that keeps being reported, this relationship just appears very toxic. And if I was Manchester United, it's a lot easier to just get rid of Jose than it is to replace a bunch of players that seem to have, conflicting relationships with him.
But do we know Mourinho's contract? Because didn't he have if he got fired, he made $20 million at Chelsea or something like that?
Yes. So I don't know the details. He did sign a contract extension through 2021, I think, or something like that, which was really weird and odd. I was surprised that Manchester United gave that to him, but I still think he gets fired before they sell Pogba.
Okay, Christian.
As he said, it's too expensive for them to fire, which is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, they can shell out hundreds of millions of dollars in a transfer market. But yeah, he probably has a contract built similar to he had. Can you guys not hear me or something?
No, we can hear you. Just your audio is just not the greatest, but that's fine.
I don't know what you want from me.
Can you just maybe try turning off your video and seeing if that'll help?
And then turning it back on.
It won't.
No. Don't turn it back on.
I mean, this is not my Wi-Fi.
No. You have to use Wi-Fi, right? Oh no, you can go on data. You can go on data minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
technically.
Yeah, maybe try going on data minutes, if you don't mind.
Okay, fine.
All right. So while Christian does that, I'll jump back in here and just expand on maybe just Mourinho just dealing with the media and making these comments. I mean, I don't understand what he has to gain by saying this. And anyone who says never is, I think, an idiot in a lot of senses. What's that? Christian.
I have no idea what's going on, Christian.
Okay. Christian, do you want to mute or something? All right, now Matt's muted. This podcast is going off the rails.
He just called me on Hangouts.
Okay. This podcast is going off the rails a little bit. Apologies here. But I just think, I don't know what Mourinho has to gain by saying something like this. And never is such a strong word. And you don't know the context of the future and when things could be possible. So for him to say he's never going to captain United again, I just think is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if this is supposed to be motivation or what he's really trying to do with this.
Well, hello, Christian.
Matt, why don't you jump in while Christian's still figuring out what the hell's going on?
I think it's so weird, especially as Pogba, the role he is and, just the way, the gravity around him to say, he'll never be able to captain Manchester United again. It's just, a blasphemous statement because he is, one of the most looked-up people in the world, and everyone knows his talent. To him say, he can't captain this side, it shows, I think Mourinho isn't going to last long. I think Pogba could be captain under a different coach. Like, I think he could be a good leader, but I just think these two together, it'll just not work out. All right, so Christian, you want to pick up where you left off?
I would love to. I said that Mourinho said himself that his contract is too expensive. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're doing. Yes, this is so much better. I can't.
Okay. He said that his contract is too expensive for United to fire him, which is absolutely blasphemous, considering that I know Matt said blasphemy, so I was like, oh, I got to do that too. Yeah. Yeah, he said his contract's too much, but I just feel like that's a ridiculous thing to say. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars in the transfer window. There's no way that it's that much that they couldn't fire him if they wanted to. And it would make more sense for them to get rid of him than to get rid of Pogba. Pogba is one of the most talented center midfielders in the world. I'm not a big fan of his playing style, but he is very, very good at what he does when he's in the right system, as we saw with France, who won the World Cup. So if they bring in another manager, I think, yes, he could be captain in the future. I agree with you. I don't know if he really is that type of player to me, someone to like really grab a team and pull them forward. But you never know. With the right management, he could be.
All right. Fair enough. How long do you think Mourinho has at this point? Do you think it's going to be a season-long thing?
About 4 hours. That's a joke, obviously. But he doesn't have much longer if this keeps going the way.
Yeah, and so right before we started podcasting, I saw on Twitter they just lost to Derby County in the League Cup.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Did you not see that before?
No, I
didn't even know.
They lost in penalties. Fellaini scored in the 95th minute to send it to penalties, and then they lost like 7-8 in penalties or something.
Wow. So yeah, I think if they don't right this ship, because they drew Wolves this past weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If they're anywhere down mid-table, like 8th or below by December in the January transfer window, I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone.
I still think that's pretty low. Like even with their struggles, like what are they, 7th right now, and it seems like they're struggling. But I don't think they'll drop down. I think if they're 6th, 7th, I still don't think he's really safe for a job considering like the state of his relationship with all the players.
Yeah, it all depends on how far out of the Champions League spots they are at that point.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all contingent on.
So do you think his Champions League? All right. So do you think his Champions League performance is gonna, if they're first in their group of champions, do you think they care? Does that have any weight over the league?
Yes, absolutely has weight. But I think the league is more important, and they need to be focused on getting to the top 4 because I don't think that they're in a position right now that they can actually win the Champions League.
Fair enough. And lastly, do you guys think, you were saying like it's a bad investment to, I guess, keep Mourinho, but selling Pogba, you're going to get well over $100 million for him.
So maybe they use the money they sell Pogba to fire Mourinho.
Yeah. That is a good point. But at the end of the day, you need to then reinvest that money wisely, right? And so you have an incredibly talented player on your books already, and selling him and then buying, whether it's 1 or 2 other stars or trying to buy 6 or 7 promising players with that money is still a big risk. Whereas Pogba is such a talented player that, I still personally think, and I'm usually generally anti-firing managers, but in this instance, it's a different situation. I think he actually should be fired, and, Pogba should be retained.
Fair enough. Well,
Christian,
yeah.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think about Matt's question?
Is this not the question I already answered?
The Pogba? Selling Pogba?
Oh, I thought I addressed that. Maybe you didn't hear me. Maybe I addressed that the first time I answered. I can't really remember. So I think that getting rid of Mourinho is clearly the best way to go in this position. I don't think that selling Pogba is the right choice.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you did address that. You just phrased it a little bit differently. This podcast, we're just all over the place here, so apologies. Matt, back over to you.
All right. Do you guys think Zidane could ever take over United?
Is this a different topic, or is this part of the same?
No. I'm just saying.
We're just having a conversation here, Chris.
Yeah.
No, I need to know layout. Is this in the first or the second topic? Yes, he could, but I don't think he will.
Yep. I mean, yes. Never say never, right? That's what I was saying before. So he could theoretically, but I think he's going to be too busy coaching Inter Miami, right? Did you guys see that rumor?
Oh, did not.
Yeah, it was from a kind of like a bullshit paper, but apparently he's in preliminary discussions with Inter Miami with his former Galacticos teammate, David Beckham, to take over. That would be enormous. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. I think Zidane has too much to offer at the top level before
Zidane
coming over
and Ronaldo coming into Miami.
Or Messi, right? I've heard that too.
Since we're going subtopics, another one, MLS coaches. How cool would it be if Klinsmann took over the Galaxy and then it was Bob Bradley versus Klinsmann in LA in their derby?
That'd be sweet.
I did not hear about that, but that actually would be super interesting because he lives in LA already. He hasn't coached.
He was sitting with like the LA's like owner or whatever, that like for 2 matches. He was there.
I would love that.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Yeah, just a little.
Jurgen with Zlatan.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, yeah, that would be awesome.
So
I think they would fight each other.
Yeah, that would conclude Matt's time here on this podcast. Thank you all for being here. Let's hear some music, and we'll be right back.
All right, good stuff. Let me plug our partner. I
don't remember my topics, so
okay, your topics were the FIFA Best, the FIFA Best Awards, and then the Champions League final being in 2021.
Okay, good.
In New York City.
Yeah.
Let me do a partner announcement real quick. What's up, everybody? Wanted to give a quick plug for our partner, StadiumScene.tv. If you are going to a match in the U.S., match game, whatever, if you're going to a stadium in the U.S., you want to go check out StadiumScene.tv for reviews and recommendations on where to park, how to get to the stadium, what bars and restaurants to check out before and after the match, and more. In addition to that, they partner with content creators like us. They are constantly adding all kinds of new content creators for all different types of sports. They have blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, and more. Go check out StadiumScene.tv for all of that content. All right, there you go. That was that. Christian, I think over to you. I know you got dinner plans, so you want to welcome us. Hold up. All right, Matt, you did you did great in that section. It was like, I don't know, like 12 or 13 minutes from like when I introed to when we finished. So yeah, that was even including my stuff. How's my sweat? All right, not too bad. All right.
How do you sweat so much during the podcast?
Because I'm nervous. I'm just nervous. I want to do a good job.
Why don't you just be better? Just be natural.
Huh? Well,
What's wrong
I just
with you two?
want us to be. I just want us to be good. All right, Christian, over to fucking you.
Over to fucking me. All right. So, hey everybody, welcome to Christian's Corner.
All right, we're losing it here. Okay, all right, I'll start again. All right, we're good now.
All right. Hey everybody, welcome to Christian's Corner. All right, you like a tone change right there? It's a little bit exciting over here down in Maryland. So I got 2 topics I would like to discuss today. First, I would like to discuss the FIFA awards. The ceremony was yesterday, and we got a few surprises. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but there are definitely some things that I disagree with here, and I would like to get your opinions as well as the viewers and listeners. Please let us know your thoughts. So, first of all, I guess we'll start with the best player in the men's game, which was Luka Modric. Matt, do you have any problems with this one?
For how like the voting has been done the last couple of years, I don't have any problem with it, considering he performed well at the World Cup. He won the Champions League. He was the best player for his national team. I think it makes sense, and I don't think Ronaldo or Messi had, overwhelmingly, great seasons. So I think I'm fine with someone else winning.
I think that's a pretty ridiculous thing to say. They didn't have overwhelmingly great seasons when they are who they are, and they still are performing way better than anybody else, which is hilarious.
I think he had almost as good of a season as them.
Modric had a legendary season in his own right, but compared to the other two, I still just can't make a reasoning for it.
Yeah, but
Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, but you're comparing apples to oranges there, where Messi and Ronaldo are players that get on the stat sheet, right? They get the goals and assists, whereas Modric is someone who just can control matches in the middle of the park. He never plays a pass wrong. He's got a tireless engine. He's always in the right position. And so, I just think it's a little bit tough to just say that.
I know, but at the end of the day, the game is about creating goals and scoring goals. And for as good of a midfielder as he is as a game controller, I think he had 8 assists the whole year and like 5 goals. Like that seems really low. What?
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah,
had
but
like 2
Did he
for
have
Real
2
Madrid.
goals actually? I believe that's what I saw as well.
Yeah, I
But I
think for
just
Real
tried to
Madrid
give
he
him a
had
little
2.
bonus just to help FIFA out for a second.
yeah, but that's not his role, right? And so for me, I'm okay with him winning. I mean, I've said on the podcast before, I still think Messi should have won, just based on the season that he had. They won the double, and he, had like, I think it was like 15 more goals combined, like goals and assists, goals created. I think that's the stat. What's the stat called? Than anybody else in the top leagues. And so for me, I thought it was ridiculous that he wasn't even on the short list of 3 players, but I'm still okay with Modric winning it. I keep harping on this. I think Varane really should have been in the discussion as well, just for everything that he did on that Real Madrid team.
He was though. Like I was looking at like how each country voted. There was actually a surprising number of people that voted Varane as.
Yeah, and can we talk a little bit? I just want to just switch it just a little bit. Like this voting sometimes is just so like political that I don't even view it like, especially from the top players. Like they just vote for like their teammates, or they vote like I don't know how often they really truly vote for the players that they feel are the best. And so
I
for me,
think this year it looked like it wasn't as like I was sending you guys the captains who they voted for, and it seemed like they were voting for rivals. Like Ronaldo had Griezmann in his. Messi had Ronaldo in his. So I think Van Dijk had De Bruyne as his second best. So I think it was, but he did have like Salah as number 1. But so I think there is a little bit of, you want to have your teammates succeed, but I think they are somewhat fair with their rivals.
fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. All right, well done. I would like to address this just for 1 second. I agree. I think Messi should have won, but I actually have no problem with Modric winning. I think that he put 2 of his teams that he was on this year way above expectations, or meeting expectations at least. So it was an outstanding performance from him for the year. Definitely should have been recognized in the top 3, and I really have no problem with him being number 1. So women, I can't believe Marta is still freaking playing, and I just looked it up. She's only 32. It's ridiculous. I feel like she's been around forever, and this is her 6th win now. I think she won 5 in a row before, like way long ago. So she hasn't won for a while, but this is her 5th award, 12th time she's been in the top 6, which is just insane. And I mean, she's a legend of the game for the women. So I don't know if you guys have any comments really on this one, or anything else you could address.
I thought she was like older and like off her prime a couple of years ago when she stopped winning them, and I just like can't believe that she got back to, back on top.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. I mean, absolute legend. Congrats to her. I can't say that I follow incredibly closely and know enough. Is she? I know at one point she was playing in the U.S. I think for Orlando.
She is on Orlando still.
She's still there. Okay, so yeah, I don't know, how they're doing and whatnot. But I mean, yeah, truly incredible.
Yeah, there's not much else to add there. So congratulations to Marta. So men's coach of the year. I don't really know how you could dispute this one. Didier Deschamps won the men's coach of the year, and he took France to the World Cup. That's really all you got to say about him. I know there's a couple other managers who can be discussed here. Probably Zidane winning 3 Champions Leagues in a row, but I don't really have any problem with him winning this at all. Dave, what do you think?
I don't have a problem with him winning it either. Yeah, I don't really like Ernesto Valverde. I think for what he did at Barca, winning the double, that's pretty incredible. Pep, winning what he won at City, but with them going out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, that probably hurt his candidacy. But I mean, they set all kinds of records, so I think probably I didn't see the voting and how it finished up, but in my mind, I think Pep had a legit shot to be in there as well. So, but I'm fine with Deschamps winning.
Yeah, Matt.
I mean, I guess I'm fine with Deschamps because the criteria. I guess people only care about the World Cup, but I mean, he had a stacked squad. You know what I mean? It's not like he overcame, crazy odds to win the cup. I think they had maybe the best team there. I think Pep, he won. I mean, he broke almost every record that was set in the Premier League last year.
But
I think
he had a stacked team too.
we don't have a single top 5 player, you would say.
De Bruyne. I
He's
put De
like
Bruyne in there.
I think he's like
I don't know,
around
5, but he's top 10.
Yeah, I mean, and like before the season, our defense, like people said, our defense wasn't good, or our midfield was pretty old. What like what like?
Are you
people
seriously
like
arguing
nuts?
that City is not stacked right now?
No, they're stacked. But...
Yeah, but yes,
Do you remember
I
like
agree.
2 years ago when you were like, I don't like Pep. He's not going to last very long.
Yeah, I hated Pep. I still kind of don't like Pep. He's kind of a dick.
He is. Yeah, and then he got radiation poisoning. He became a giant.
He's a giant dick.
Okay. So, anything else you want to add on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So women's coach of the year is Renyal Pedros. I'm sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong, but that's how it's going to be. He was the coach of Olympique Lyonnais, and apparently he took over for a coach who won the treble the previous year, and he took Lyon to the league and Champions League for the women. So, I mean, can't really get much better than that, and I have no problems with this one. I don't really even know who else could compete with a roster like that for the year.
Now, Lyon invest a ton of money into their women's team, and it's really awesome to see. And I mean, they have success, through doing that. And so with United getting a team, and they're absolutely just destroying teams in the second division over in England because they made them start in the second division. And so it'll be interesting to see. I think most of the top teams in England now field women's teams and are investing more in that front. And it'll be interesting to see how the game develops, especially in Europe, but meaning like Champions League over there. And if right now, I think the NWSL, which is the women's league over here, is still seen as kind of a top destination for a lot of players around the world. But what will happen as those teams over there and those brands, with their that are already worth billions of dollars, and have the money to spend to invest in the women's team, how that will impact the NWSL and American players going over there. So it'll be interesting.
Like Carly Lloyd went to Man City for I think only a year. I'm pretty sure she was only there. But...
Alex Morgan did the same thing with Olympique Lyonnais.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I don't think it'll work out too well for the NWSL, from our perspective at least.
Yeah, I agree. So Thibaut Courtois, goalie of the year. I know we had a conversation about this already, but Matt, I'll let you attack this one first.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of him winning goalie of the year. I think he had a good World Cup, but I think he was not great at Chelsea last year. I thought he made a decent amount of mistakes. I think De Gea or Navas were the two best goalies last year. So I don't like that one.
Okay, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. I think De Gea, just for his league performance, he was incredible for United last year. I mean, at the World Cup, he just completely fell flat on his face. And then Navas was fantastic in the Champions League. So, yeah, I mean, probably those two. I'm trying to think. Like, Ederson
does it really surprise you guys, though, that De Gea, was left off of this ballot completely?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. I know his World Cup.
As we'll get to later, he won goalie in the team of the year. So that just makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me either. So I'm not sure exactly what I don't really understand how that's possible. But yeah, so for me, like Matt said, probably Navas and De Gea had a better shout than Courtois.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's not a good sign.
Did he cut out for you? Or...
He's gone.
Can you not hear me?
Now you're back.
There you are.
Oh, because I was talking and I could hear you guys perfectly clearly.
Could you hear Matt?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said I have no problems with Courtois winning, really. I think that he is a really, really solid goalkeeper. And, in the World Cup, I think he was the best goalkeeper at the tournament. He was incredible at times. And you know that the voting is pretty heavily in favor of how your World Cup performance is. So I don't really have any problems with it. Puskas Award, I think we're going to have a lot of debate on this one, but I don't think Salah deserves this at all. Dave, what do you think?
No, I mean, I don't think there's much debate at all. I don't know how he won this, to be honest with you. I mean,
I don't
yes, it
even
was.
think that was his best goal.
Yeah,
it wasn't. The goal against Spurs was far superior.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't understand, like, why or how he won. I mean, like I said, it was a nice goal, but it wasn't like Puskás, which is like the most ridiculous goals out there. The Ronaldo bike, the Bale bike, the Bale bike in the Champions League final.
I think it was an Australian league, the guy that did the back, the Giroud flick from like 20 out.
Yeah, and so for those, I think, like, that's almost more like luck than it was skill. Like, for me, like, the Bale one, I think should have won. Just the context of being in the Champions League final, how pure he hit that, and just going upper 90, like, just where it went. Like, I think that should have won for me.
Yeah, and I think that the Pavard goals should also be discussed. I think that changed the entire fortunes of France. If they don't score that goal, they weren't really in good form at that moment. It was right at the start of the second half, and it just shocked Argentina, and they never recovered from it. So I think that one definitely deserves it for the context and the incredible skill that it took to perform that goal.
Yeah.
Matt, what about you?
I think Ronaldo's goal. Like, just like how I think that was the most like pure strike of the bike I've seen, and probably since like Bruni's that I've seen at that stage. It was crazy.
Fair enough.
I guess I would have picked Bales, just saying, FYI. But so moving on, Peru fans of the year. No problem with this one, really. I think that they were incredible at the World Cup, and it was sad that they went out so early. Anybody have anything else to add on this one?
Nope.
Keep moving along.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair Play Award. We're going to skip over that. Who likes a goody? And then we're just going to highlight the FIFA World 11 this time around. And I'll just go position by position, whether you agree or agree. All right. So De Gea, goalkeeper. Matt?
Yep.
Dave? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have no problems with that one either. Right back. What? Dani Alves. How'd you get there?
Yeah.
Dave or Matt? Either one.
I just have no idea how he's even there. I think Kimmich should be number one. Versalco, Kyle Walker, probably the top three.
Kimmich, I think, hands down should have been there, but I think his Germany team performance really let him down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? No, we're good. All right. Marcelo as the left back. No problems with that one, really.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
still think
Sergio
Alba
Ramos,
has it.
I definitely have some qualms with, but I guess we'll let that one go. What do you guys think?
No.
I don't think so. I think Godin should have taken his place.
Or Hummels.
I think Hummels, Godin also, and I think Van Dijk, for what he's done at Liverpool, deserves to be in there at least somewhat. Varane, I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with this one.
No. He's the best player ever.
Yeah, true, according to Dave. N'Golo Kante, again, I think that everyone's kind of on board with that one, and Modric in the center of midfield. We'll go to Ronaldo, I guess, next. Actually, he was the forward, so let's skip over that one. Messi, they have is like the 10. I think everyone's okay with that one as well, and Ronaldo up front, unless you're not.
No, I'm good with it.
Okay. And then Mbappe and Hazard as the wingers. This is where I get a little bit iffy. I think Mbappe was incredible in the World Cup. He really was. I don't think that he was in the best 11 of the year, and I think Hazard also doesn't deserve to be in there. I don't know about you. I would have Salah on the right wing, and I would have De Bruyne probably at the 10.
And then Messi on the
and
other
then Messi
wing?
up front and Ronaldo on the left, probably.
Yeah, but I don't think they could have done that because Messi and Ronaldo both played up top last year as like strikers.
I mean, not really. I think Messi technically was the right winger, and I think technically Ronaldo was the left winger.
I thought Barca played a 4-4-2 and Messi played up top.
Yeah, Barca
kind of, but
4-4-2 now.
I mean, he kind of plays his own role, so I guess the 10 does make sense.
Yeah, And Ronaldo was definitely playing up top last year. Because wasn't Benzema not really playing?
No, he was still out on the wing.
He was on the left.
Yeah. But Christian, so to get back to what you said, I think I would agree with that. Hazard is somebody who has so much talent, but just consistency has always been an issue for me. And someone like Salah, who scored in there was a record number of matches. It was like 32 or 33 matches. So he constantly got goals. He scored over 40. So I think he deserves to be in there. And I could get De Bruyne over Mbappe too. So yeah, I like your proposal.
All right, cool. That was it for this. I'll move on to the other topic, and we'll go real quick here. They are discussing a potential move for the Champions League final in 2021 to New York City. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I'll get your guys' thoughts first. Matt, I'll go to you first. What do you think about the final being in America?
I wish our fans were more passionate about it. I think it's going to kill the atmosphere a little bit, but I mean, it's awesome for us to be able to go see a Champions League final and it be that close to us. But I think, except for Dave, but yeah, I think it's going to take from the game because the fans are going to have more difficulties traveling. It's just going to be more American, more neutral supporters.
Dave?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I also like the shot of Matt's nostrils to start off your response.
I also
like
that Matt was looking off into the distance.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if he actually was thinking or if he was just not watching.
Yeah, so that was a great start to your answer there. I'm the exact same way as Matt. I do not like it in the U.S. It's a UEFA Champions League final. It should be played somewhere in Europe. European fans should be able to get to the match. There's already a ton of neutral tickets sold for the match. It being based in Europe. And so to have it be over here, I think even more neutrals would be there and it takes away from the atmosphere. So yeah, I'm 100% on board with it remaining in UEFA. And I don't love that it's in New York City, or it's not even a definite, but I don't even like that it's really being discussed. I get why it is because it's a neutral site. It makes sense to kind of explore, different areas to have these one-off final matches. But for me, I think it should be somewhere in UEFA.
I agree. I don't really love the idea of this. I know that the argument for a lot of people was it's difficult for the fans to travel that far. But when you think about that, when you go to St. Petersburg or somewhere like that, it's just as far. And they were making that argument. So, I mean, you take that into consideration, but St. Petersburg has a team that plays in the Champions League. So, consistently. So it's hard to say that. And, my phone keeps turning away from me, so anyone who wants to view my beautiful face, I'm sorry about this. This is pretty crazy. Okay. Yeah, I really don't like the idea. I think it would kill the atmosphere, and the Champions League is the highlight of the year in sports for me.
I just see the top of Matt's head. Christian keeps falling. We're just completely off the rails here. But Christian, on your point, so when I was just in Liverpool, and the guy who sold me the Liverpool tickets, we were talking with him, and he said he went to the final in Istanbul, and what he had to do was he got a flight to Bulgaria. They needed to take an 8 or 9 hour bus ride from Bulgaria to get to the match, and so getting to New York City is a hell of a lot easier than maybe getting to Istanbul. So you might be right, and it might be that maybe hotel rates don't get incredibly jacked up the way that they would in Europe because I don't know, in America they don't.
They're already high in New York City. So
well, no, they are already, but more you're not going to get exploited quite as much because, quite frankly, the Champions League, as big of a deal as it is, it's not going to. There are other things going on, and
it's not the Super Bowl here.
Exactly, it's not the Super Bowl here, and the media attention that it commands is not the same in America. So there may be a positive for fans if you try to spin it that way. I don't know.
I know. I was watching ESPN FC and. Stevie Nicol was like, you might as well just send the Super Bowl over to Scotland. I mean, it is doing that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
To be quite frank, I wouldn't be surprised if the Super Bowl is in London within the next 5 to 10 years. That wouldn't shock me. The only thing is that it is cold over there and they don't love having cold, Super Bowls. But they are trying to grow the brand over there. And I think, they're really rumored to be considering moving. I think it's the Jaguars over there because, the owner already owns Fulham. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's an NFL franchise in London in the not too distant future. But that's now we're way off topic here.
Yeah, how did we get here?
I don't know.
All right,
to be
so
honest.
that's going to conclude Christian's Corner here, unless you guys have something else to add.
Nah.
Sorry, we ran a little long here, and I'm going to be late to dinner, but whatever. So we're gonna wrap up Christian's Corner, and I thank you all for stopping by. I'll be back in Dave's. I think it's called Dave's now, but in Dave's in a little bit. Enjoy this music.
All right, I'll do my plug.
Together, you're being unprofessional.
I know. I'm just losing my shit because we just have so many things going on, Matt. All right, sorry. I know you have to get to dinner. What's up, everyone? Jeez, what is that? What's up, everyone? Here with another plug for another one of our partners, FNX.network. FNX.network is a website you want to check out. It has all different kinds of content for all different types of, content topics. I don't know the right way to say it. Things, yes. They got sports. They have entertainment, video games, lifestyle, tech, and so much more. They're constantly adding new writers, new partners. They have our stuff on there as well as tons of others. Go check out FNX.network today. All right. I know you got places to be. Let's roll right into this. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Dave's. This is my section. Last section here, I should say. First thing I want to talk about, FIFA's task force. So they have a task force that was studying kind of transfer regulations in the transfer market, and they recently came out with an algorithm-based transfer fee recommendation that all future players would be valued by this algorithm, and that's how they would move between clubs, and it would just be set, and there wouldn't be kind of a free market for transfer values, and it wouldn't kind of get exorbitant and so on and so forth. Matt, what do you think about this task force setting a value for players based on an algorithm?
I actually like it. For the most part, I think it'll put some restraint on how crazy the transfer market has become the last couple of years and just the inflation of it. But I think that it'll be hard to put a price on some of the younger players who haven't necessarily gotten too much production, but in the near future, they're going to start producing a lot more. So I think the algorithm it's going to be hard to get the right algorithm for younger players.
Christian, thoughts on the algorithm?
It's capitalism, man. Come on. We got to keep these open markets. I don't really like the idea of changing the entire process, but I understand that it's gotten a little bit out of hand. What, can you not see me?
No, you're gone, but that's fine.
Yeah, my phone went to low power, so my video is now gone, but you can still hear me, so that's good. So I just think that it needs to stay the way it is. I think that they could change just the pricing of players that's going on right now, and they've been trying to do that in a way with financial fair play, but not really, because the prices just continue to keep growing and growing, and people and teams are finding ways to get around it.
I think something needs to be done. I don't love the idea of making it algorithm based because at the end of the day, players have value outside of the field too. There's marketing, there's other things that you might sign a player and you may assign him additional value because of that. Pulisic is a fantastic player, but at the end of the day, he's worth more because he is an American player and he may be exposing the American market to something they've never really had before. And so I don't think the algorithm really takes into account those things. And so that would be my concern because it seemed like, looking at the algorithm, it was based on which team the player plays for right now, how many years left on the contract, how many years they've been a professional, and just some of those hardline numbers, whereas there is still a little bit of subjectivity and there needs to be some wiggle room there. So maybe if they established like a window, I don't know if that would be a little bit better, but I think something needs to be done because the fees just can't keep getting bigger and bigger. But I don't know if I necessarily love it being a hard and fast one set number. Matt, anything else to add?
Yeah, I was just have a quick question. So do you just have to put that number up, and then basically if somebody just comes in and wouldn't it just be so much easier for a team to buy somebody, take someone from someone?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it would be if like, I guess I don't know what would happen if the team that's going to sell just says no to the price, or if they just have to pay, if they have to let the player go, if that valuation is met, because again, that gets into like, again, a team may want to hold on to a player even if his value is met because they may value him differently. So yeah, that's another good point.
I assume that it would be mandatory that you allow the player to discuss with the other team, but the player still has the final say. I mean, it's similar to the way it is now.
Right now, aren't you not allowed to talk to the other team?
You are if they meet your transfer clause.
Okay.
But if you don't have a transfer clause, so Matt's saying basically every player is theoretically granted a transfer clause, then, right?
Exactly.
Through this, which I don't necessarily love, because then clubs lose all kinds of power that they have with retaining players. And so, I don't love that either. So that's a really good point, Matt. Yeah, Christian, anything else you want to add on this topic?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay. Last thing I wanted to talk about here, the USL, which is the second division in the United States. It's its own separate league. We don't have an integrated pyramid. So MLS is the top division. It's its own separate league. The USL is another professional league. They currently have the USL, which is a D2 league, Division 2 league. There's no integration with promotion and relegation or whatnot. But next year they are launching a Division 3, and they already have the PDL, it's called. It's basically a summer league for people that are in college or just recently graduated college. It's for amateurs as a way for them to play. And so that is theoretically the fourth division. And so the USL is Division 2. The USL D3 is launching next year in 2019. And then the USL PDL is Division 4 Summer League. So they recently went through a rebrand. It was just announced today, September 25th. We have it linked in the video description and podcast show notes where you can read more about it. But they are calling the USL now the Championship, the USL Championship, the D3 League, the USL League 1, and then the PDL, so the USL League 2. Christian, what do you make of the USL rebranding and kind of taking the same naming convention that England uses?
I hate it. I know it makes it easier for me as a soccer fan who really does know the English system, that it makes sense to me, and I've always had problems figuring out who's where. Like, what league is this? I don't really understand. But I hate that we copied somebody else. I think we should have made our own system and made it easier to follow, just given a more of a flow chart and said, okay, this is how it is. Okay, we're going to announce the USL is now Division 2, whatever, and just call it Division 2 then. And I don't like that we copied exactly the way English teams are and the league is set up.
I feel 100% in agreement with that. But Matt, your thoughts here?
Yeah, 100% agree, but I don't have much more to add.
Yeah. What do you make of...
Good topics, Dave.
No, well, I'm trying to get you to dinner. What do you make of them setting up this way? Do you think this is hinting at a future where USL incorporates promotion and relegation, Christian?
Yes. I think it's making it an opportunity. I don't think that it's going to happen anytime soon, but it makes it a realistic future that could happen.
Matt?
Yeah, I think this is a good first step in having, a structure that makes sense with the names. Then it'll be easier for people to actually know which league is which.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually think it isn't too far in the distant future. I think promotion and relegation, USL used to have promotion and relegation. This was back before they did their whole split and rebrand with the NASL. So this is back in the mid 2000s. They used to have a Division 1 and Division 2 where that had promotion and relegation. So I wouldn't be surprised. And I think the USL president has said that they are open to promotion and relegation. So won't be surprised within the next 5 to 10 years there was some form of promotion and relegation, specifically between the top two divisions. I think the PDL, because of its amateur status and everything like that, I would be surprised if they went into promotion and relegation and went up professional. But it's something interesting to kind of follow. And again, I like that they're all integrated under one brand and it's not USL and then PDL and whatnot. I like that they're under one brand, but I do not like that they just copied England at all.
Where does the USL of PA stand in this rank?
The USL of PA, I don't believe they're affiliated with the USL. If they are, it's probably fifth, sixth division. Yeah, exactly. So, Christian plays.
I mean, they probably are, but it's probably way down the list.
Yes. Okay, so that's that, guys. Anything else to add on this topic, Christian?
Nope.
Matt?
Mm-mm.
All right, before we get to our listener questions, 2 quick plugs from me. I'm the founder of a simplified fantasy soccer website, FanFutsal, FANFUTSAL.com. We have you select teams instead of individual players, and we simplify scoring so it's only based on match scores. We still have strategy and lineup differentiation by having positions and formations for your teams. Go check it out, FANFUTSAL.com. Also have a YouTube channel called the Soccer Tavern, where I have videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. I'm considering launching a podcast channel for the Soccer Tavern for people that just want to hear the YouTube videos instead of watching them. I know it's easier to consume that content. So if you like that, please let me know. On the Soccer Tavern YouTube channel, we have videos about terminology, history of clubs. We're going to start researching Bundesliga clubs and sending out those videos. So please go check it out. I think I'm up to like the mid to upper 60s in number of videos over there. So lots of content for you. For our listener questions this week, first one from @WorldHotspur. That's our friend Will. All Tottenham fans should go check out Tottenham Hotspur World. This was a question for me. So again, I was just in England. So he said, excluding the Liverpool PSG match, which I'm pretty sure was epic, what was the best moment of the trip? I'm going to take a little bit of a cop out. So there was so much anxiety I had with getting tickets to that match. I had to get them through Craigslist, and the guy who I met couldn't have been nicer, and it all ended up working out. But still, until I literally went through the turnstile and the ticket worked, I was nervous as hell that it just wasn't going to work. And so probably the moment I stepped into the stadium and realized that my ticket actually worked was probably the best trip. And so that was just such a relief. On top of that, I mean, Birmingham, we stopped in Birmingham on our way up to Liverpool, and I was just really surprised at how just nice it was. We didn't know what to expect, and so we parked, we walked around, we had lunch in the city. There's a university right there, and so that was, it was awesome driving because you could just stop off in these random places and just be surprised by the country because I hadn't been there before. So that was that for me. We already touched on Glenn Lawrence's question. Thank you for that about Pogba. All right, here we go. @Official Hernandez. Discuss PSG versus Liverpool, Man City versus Lyon. Is there a double standard for PSG? Like, do they get a pass from people, and are they just given a, just crowned champions of Ligue 1? Christian, thoughts?
I mean, they practically are crowned champions because of their budget and the league that they're in. They really just dominate it. And I don't know if you can consider it giving them a pass. Do you mean in the Champions League, if they don't win, people give them a pass?
Yes, I'm not sure what this. He just said,
I
"Is there?"
That's what it means. But they lost to Liverpool at Anfield. It's not like they just lost to Lyon at home.
Okay. Yeah, Matt. I don't know. Do you have thoughts here on what the double standard means?
I assume he means with Ligue 1, like just like how people say it's a crap league because PSG loses to Liverpool. I think that's what he means.
Okay.
Right. But I mean, it definitely isn't the level of the top teams. It's not like Spain is right now. It's not. I guess it's not England really. I think it's close to England, but I don't think top to bottom is as strong as England. City, I missed the first half of City where we went down 2-0. So I don't even know really what went wrong. Apparently it was just like 2 mistakes. But from the second half on, it looked like normal City. They completely dominated. They scored the goal in the second half. Just couldn't get another one. So like for me, like from what I saw, it didn't even look like anything was going wrong at City.
So his second part to this question. So why are commentators so quick to judge Ligue 1 if they don't really watch it? And so we kind of touched on this, but Christian, any thoughts here?
British bias.
Well, to be fair, yeah, we listen to mostly British commentary, and they're all very negative. So that's probably why it sounds that way.
Matt, thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with Christian. I think it's just what we hear is mainly like the Premier League is the thing that's promoted the most over here. It's what's on TV. Like all the
you take it easy over there, Dave.
Sorry,
please. You just really are all about the attention.
I don't know what this bag is and why it's here, but that's not normally there. Yeah, so sorry.
Yeah, so there's like a bunch of pundits, and they all kind of either are British or a lot of them played in the Premier League, and it seems like they always just kind of favor that.
Yeah, and so for me, I think the Premier League, La Liga, and probably Serie A right now are just the top 3. I think they're better than the rest. But I think the Bundesliga is really slipping recently, and Ligue 1 is really starting to put together stronger teams. And so I'm worried about the Bundesliga, and I think Ligue 1 is on the rise. So I think that people do just dismiss them completely because PSG is just such a behemoth. But they are kind of on the up and up. So that's what I'll say. Last question here is from that Arab keeper at that Arab keeper. Balou Tabla, who was a highly rated Barcelona B winger. He used to play for the Montreal Impact. They signed him from Montreal for a couple $1 million. It was a pretty big deal. He confirmed that he'll represent Canada internationally. So he had a couple different teams that he could have played for, and he chose Canada. With other teenage sensations like Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Liam Miller, and Zachary Brolt. Juilliard, probably because it's French Canadian. Do you see Canada becoming a North American giant in the next decade? So I got to admit, I only know two of those players, Tabla and Davies, but I don't know. These other players are highly rated. Matt, what do you think about Canada's future here?
I think it's they're bound to get better and become, more competitive with Mexico and the United States. I think eventually it's going to be us three, just the way the training would work out, and probably just the infrastructure we have to support soccer. I think those three countries should be the three biggest eventually. I know the same thing with basketball in Canada. Like, basketball is becoming huge in Canada, and you'll see like the NBA stars, like a bunch of them are Canadian now. Whereas like before, like Steve Nash was their only real like good player, but now it's like so many. So I can see them, and even with Alphonso Davies, like there's not many higher sought after teenagers in the world right now. So I think they are bound to get better.
Christian?
Giant of CONCACAF is a little bit of a stretch. I don't know if you consider being in the top three and consistently qualifying for the World Cup probably is a giant technically, if you think about it that way. But I don't think they're going to surpass the U.S. or Mexico anytime soon. I think that they have a good core group of players coming through that are going to make them far more competitive. And we'll see them really doing well in qualifying and making it to the World Cup a couple times over the next decade or two.
So I'm with Matt. I think that they have all of the infrastructure and possibilities to legitimately compete with Mexico and the United States. They have consistently lost some of their talented players to other nations. Like Owen Hargreaves could have represented Canada, but he chose England, right? And so there's a lot of other instances like that. And now that these players are in fact choosing Canada, coupled with all the infrastructure that's being put in place by MLS, and they're launching a Canadian professional league, I think, next year, and possibly lower divisions, again building out all that infrastructure. They have all of that to be a team that challenges Mexico and the US in this region, not within the next 5 years or so, or not within the next, 2 or 3 years, but with all of these talented players, 5 to 10 years, they should, if they consistently qualify for the World Cup, which they very, very likely could, they could compete with us and Mexico there. So that's what I think. Christian, do you want to recap our trivia question?
I would love to. Our trivia question this week is, which player in Europe has completed the most dribbles through September 24th, 2018, this season?
I'm just going to let you go. I don't even know who's playing.
All right, I'm going to say Sadio Mane. I feel like he's been holding on to the ball a little bit much and taking players on more. And I think it's got, my personal opinion is it's got to be Ligue 1 or EPL because they played the most matches. So I'm going to say Mane.
I'm going to say, I don't know if Zaha has played every game, but I'm just going to say Zaha. I don't think he has. But
no, he missed one game.
Yeah, it looks like there's only 2 or 3 Premier League stars in the top 10, and Hazard is leading the way by a lot. Not in dribbles. Sorry, no, in the Premier League. I was just going to tell you that. But Lilian Thuram's son, Marcus Thuram, is actually leading all of Europe in dribbles, and he's got 24 in 37 attempts, and he is the first player to actually be in front of Messi in quite a long time.
Where does he play?
He plays. Oh shit! He just moved. Hold on, wait. I have it on here. I just closed it.
Okay.
Everyone, hold on.
Yeah, stick with us here. Don't shut off the podcast or navigate.
Just kidding.
Away.
I closed it.
Okay. Matt.
I'll find it. Don't worry.
Matt, anything else? What the heck's it? Lilian Thuram. Okay, so with that, that brings us to the end of the podcast. As Christian searches for that answer, he'll chime in here when he has it. But thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard here, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes. We had a good one from at Soccer Noob. He actually wrote us a review. Really, really nice. Really appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. And actually check out some of his stuff. I think he writes a really interesting blog post for fans that may be a bit new to soccer, and he's got a really sort of humorous angle look at it. And so go check out his stuff. He's on Twitter. I think it's at Soccer Noob USA. I'm sure if you just search Soccer Noob, you'd end up finding him. But please consider writing us a review. We would greatly appreciate that. If you want to get in contact with us, our Twitter handle's at BTSoccerPod. Our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. And we have a website, brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. You can check out past episodes, read about us, and much more, including visiting our store. If you want to support the show, but you don't want to do a whole bunch or shell out any of your own money. If you were buying anything on Amazon, please go to brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com, click on our store link, and click on the link to Amazon. No additional cost to you, but whatever you end up buying on Amazon, we get a small percentage of that, and it goes just help support us, in making this show and the equipment and the storage costs of hosting and all of that. And it would just mean a whole lot to us. So please check it out. Again, brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com, and check out the store. Christian, did you find the information you were looking for?
I did. He plays in Ligue 1 for, I believe this is pronounced Winwamp, right?
I think it's
the one that begins with a G.
I think it's
Wingam.
Okay. Wingam. Yeah, I think it's Wingam. But I could be wrong. Any of our League of fans, maybe at Official Hernandez, let us know about that and on the pronunciation front. Thank you for being here, Christian. I hope dinner is enjoyable.
It will be. I'm having Oprah's favorite crab cakes.
Okay. Matt, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on your podcast, Dave.
All right. Thanks for being a guest. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. We always appreciate you and your time. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you next week. See you, everybody. People of YouTube, if any of you are still here, thank you for dealing with all of the chaos that was this podcast. Christian's audio.
They got a lot of fun out of this one.
Yes. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon. See you, everybody.